Hey everybody, I hope you're all keeping well and you all had a lovely weekend. I am not keeping that well, but I am here, ever the professional, and I'm going to push through this. So you're going to have to deal with the wheezy me. I went to physio for my shoulder. You remember I told you that I hurt my shoulder walking the dog because she saw a squirrel, and my physio unfortunately was at the doctor's surgery last Monday. And I'm just one of those people, if I go to an airport, or if I go into the doctor's surgery, I could be a full bill of health, but I come out the other side not so much. But anyway, that's enough about me. Let's talk about some of the stories that are coming out thick and fast. I know WME, William Morris Endeavour, are supposed to just be a talent agency, but I can't help but feel since she signed with them, the PR push has absolutely gone into overdrive. It's all the time, and it's some of the most ridiculous stories. Now, I do happen to believe that Harry and Meghan, or rather their team, are definitely planting some of these stories because they fall under my favourite saying on the channel, and that is bollocks, because I do not believe it for 1 second. Now, we're going to start off with one story, which I know that you guys will be exactly the same as me, and you're going to say, no way in hell. And that is Sophie and Edward. So Prince Edward, who is the Duke of Edinburgh, and his lovely wife Sophie, who we love, the Duchess of Edinburgh, are reportedly now the gateway for Harry and Meghan being welcomed back into the royal fold. Yeah, exactly. As I said, this is the category that goes under. Now, we're going to start with the reasons why I think that. When Meghan first joined the royal family, they tried to give her as much help as possible, regardless to what Meghan said on Oprah. She did have Duchess training. That's why Harry looked at her when she came out and said, "Nobody told me how to do anything. I didn't even know how to do the national anthem." Well, you could Google your husband, all right, couldn't you? But you couldn't Google some words to the national anthem. It was just all that ridiculous stuff. But anyway, the Queen did give her a lot of help and support through her staff. She was given Samantha Cohen, who was the Queen's private secretary for a number of years. She had recently handed in her notice, but the Queen asked her to stay on to help support Meghan. Now, Sophie was also the Queen's, I would say, it's cruel to say this, but she was very close with the Queen rather than saying the Queen's favourite. Sophie absolutely adored the Queen. They had a mother-daughter relationship, and Sophie often referred to the Queen as her mama in private. So the Queen decided to offer the services of Sophie to help Meghan understand what it's like being, a lady in the royal family. Meghan shut it down. Meghan did not want the help of Sophie. She also turned down Lady Susan Hussey. Now, most of you know that name because it was Lady Susan that was targeted by Marlene from Hackney or Ngozi Fulani in the recent race-baiting, stirring-up event that happened. When I found out it was Lady Susan Hussey, she was the one that had said that she offered, her help was offered to Meghan. Meghan turned it down. She said she didn't need anyone because she had Harry, wrapped round her little finger and under her thumb at that point. But she had said that their marriage would end in tears. So that's why I've always taken what happened with a pinch of salt. And I can't help but think that she was targeted. But hey, as I say, it's just my opinions and my thoughts on that one. Now, as for Sophie being the one that is going to welcome back Harry and Meghan especially, I'm sorry, but we saw how Meghan treated the Queen and Harry treated the Queen in her final years, what they did when Prince Philip was dying. The fact that they released through friends when they did the Oprah interview that she would not be muzzled. They're using Prince Philip's ill health to try and silence her. He was quite literally dying. And then obviously all of the subsequent attacks that they did on top of the Queen when she was grieving for her husband. She never recovered. We know she never recovered after losing Philip. But back to the seriousness of what Meghan did to the Queen alongside Harry. I mean, they filmed those offensive things that they said and did in the Netflix documentary, knowing that the Queen was still grieving for Philip, and more importantly, as it turns out, that she was suffering with bone cancer. They knew that she didn't have long left, and even a few weeks beforehand, Meghan did that interview with The Cut magazine where she threatened to continue slinging mud at the royal family, that she threatened to talk and spoke about not signing an NDA. A little bit hypocritical given the recent story that they slapped an NDA on school children and their teachers. And that's one of the many reasons why I do not believe that Sophie, who is incredibly close to the Queen, and Philip is suddenly then part of this gateway. The whole story is ridiculous. Sophie, we saw her protecting the children at the Queen's funeral like a lioness with Catherine. We saw the fact that Sophie couldn't even barely abide to look at Meghan. We know that Meghan and Harry, because of their demands and the games that they were playing with the royal family, when the Queen was dying, they all rushed to the airport to get on a flight. They were allowing Harry to go on that flight, is my understanding, but Harry wouldn't go unless he had Meghan, got into an argument. That's why the plane sat on the tarmac. So Harry and Meghan, with their childish demands, delayed the family getting up there. I think this was one of the many final straws with the couple's relations with their family. Now, Harry and Meghan are desperately trying to hang on to any connection to the royal family, hence the recent leak of going over to see Princess Eugenie in Portugal after the Invictus Games. Princess Eugenie, if the story is true, has got nothing to gain from her friendship being disclosed to the public, because how everyone feels about Harry and Meghan. So it only would have come from their camp to again keep the royal association up. And as I said in a previous video, I do not believe that Eugenie is as close with her cousin as the media tries to make out anymore. So as for the story of Sophie being the gateway for Meghan to come back to the UK and the royal family, I put that the same as it would be as likely as Mike Tyndall welcoming Harry back with a big old hug. Now, the reason why I believe these stories are really being pushed of Harry and Meghan being welcomed back into the fold, I think it's done as a counter response to the recent headlines that came out that Harry was refused a place to stay at Windsor when he came back for the World Child Awards. It was said that Harry wanted to be close to where his grandparents were buried so he could go privately pay his respects. That's why he got his big security blacked out SUV to park outside the main entrance to the chapel, and Harry was spotted going in and out. We all know that there are many royals that live on that estate, which means there are many private access points to be able to navigate, get their way around without being spotted. Harry wanted to be seen. Now, after this story came out, it was said that Harry was desperate to go see his father. He really wants to make amends. Funny how this always comes out after the royal family have shown a little bit of backbone with him. Now, I think that if Harry truly wanted to come over and to speak to his father, he knew his father was in Balmoral. It was said that Charles would be happy for Harry to make the effort and to have gone and seen him. But then it came down to there were timing differences. There wasn't enough notice given. I'm sorry, Harry knew exactly when his grandmother died because the year anniversary would have been, a year later. The same as the World Child Awards would have exactly been a year later. Harry knew the timings, and I don't think that he wanted to go to Balmoral. Otherwise, he would have flown to Edinburgh and then gone to the Invictus Games from there. But what he did this for was a poor Harry narrative. Harry wasn't allowed to stay at Windsor, so Harry gets spotted going into the chapel, or rather coming out looking upset. And then he was desperate to see his family. Harry is offering olive branches, and he was cruelly refused by the royal family to stay on the estate. You can see straight through it because it goes and follows along with all of the other narratives that these two have tried to push. It's the whole, all the royals are mean and nasty to poor little innocent Harry and Meghan, and it just doesn't wash with the UK or even America anymore. People see straight through them. Now, despite this, of course, the media jump on board because they like clickbait. It's how they earn their revenue on it. And they turn around and say, King Charles should give Harry a permanent residence in the UK. Harry and Meghan should be given a flat in Kensington Palace. And of course, it angers a lot of people and it gets us all talking, myself included, because you think to yourself, why should they? Why should they have anything from the taxpayers anymore? Taxpayer funded security, a residence inside palace grounds when they come to visit. They're not carrying out royal duties. They're not representing the crown. And the royal family don't really want anything to do with them because of their behaviour and their constant attacks on them. Why would you let a fox into the chicken shed? They continuously complained about their free home at Nottingham Cottage. It was too small. It was too pokey. They had to have second-hand furniture despite being millionaires and having millions in the the bank. Go out and buy some yourself. That's a novel idea if you didn't like the furniture that was in there. But no, when they went to Catherine and William's Kensington Palace apartment, it was like an antique showroom, blah, blah. Now, Harry and Meghan, I bring you back to the fact that Harry and Meghan were meant to be moving into the palace residence, Kensington Palace, next door to Catherine and William. That didn't happen because of all of the fallouts. The quick turnaround from getting the previous tenants to vacate that particular apartment for Harry and Meghan, there was reportedly a fair amount of money spent on renovations for them to suddenly not move in there. It has always led to rumours, and these I always take with a pinch of salt, but something fairly big happened. It could be that Prince William was at that time learning that Meghan was treating all of the staff horribly, bearing in mind she'd fallen out with the Queen's staff, personal aides. They were treating their own staff absolutely horrifically, so perhaps that was part of it. There was also that Meghan had been rude to Maria, the nanny. I've also even heard several times that Meghan got caught trying to take photographs of Princess Charlotte while she was asleep. I don't know if I believe that one, but that one would certainly explain why they suddenly were no longer allowed to move into Kensington Palace and all of these quick PR stories were put out. And whether that's true or not, it is believable. It is believable because we know that Meghan and Harry snuck in a photographer to the Queen's private residences. And this is the next big thing of why should they give Harry and Meghan an apartment, not just due to the family fallout, but Harry and Meghan have actually breached protocol and security. They have endangered other members of the royal family. Harry, in spare, disclosed private details inside personal family residences inside the palace grounds. They snuck in a photographer to take photographs and clips of them, which we saw in a Netflix documentary. Inside the grounds. This is a massive security breach. I mean, it was only at Christmas 2021 that a man was caught with a crossbow wanting to kill the Queen. And do you think that stopped those two on releasing all of this information? No, it didn't. They didn't think to themselves, well, hey, an actual real death threat, an actual real scary person with a crossbow tried to kill my grandmother, but hey, let's keep putting all this stuff in my book and in Netflix for everyone else to see and to read as well. It goes to show that Harry and Meghan don't care about anyone's safety other than their own. But what is more apparent from what we've seen, I wouldn't say that they are in any more danger than any other celebrity. The fact that they've made up that they've had their home near enough broken into, I don't believe it. Sorry, the police never found any traces of anyone trying to do it. The fact that they called the drones themselves to come over Tyler Perry's mansion to say that we're being hounded by the press and the media. The New York car chase, the only people's lives that were endangered were New Yorkers by them pulling that stunt and closing off streets in New York so they could do their paparazzi moment getting in a taxi. There were police cars behind them, not for them, that were trying to get to another call. You see them speed past them when they eventually get past. Meghan and Harry, and at least their security team, should absolutely be fined by the City of New York for putting other people's lives at risk. The only person that they had reports on driving erratically and dangerously was their security drivers. So the next story that tallies onto this is Harry should be given a permanent residence, otherwise he can't carry out his Counsellor of State position. Well, I don't necessarily see that as a bad thing. Perhaps that's why the royal family are refusing to give him a residence. Perhaps that's why Frogmore, the eviction, it wasn't an eviction. The lease was up. They were not allowed to renew it. Again, it could be because they can't trust them to have free access to roam around the palace grounds. But also, in a backdoor roundabout way, this means Harry cannot act as Counsellor of State. But I mean, how could he or Andrew ever realistically go to another country or official engagement representing the king and the crown after everything that's happened? I'd have more respect seeing Andrew at an event, because at least he didn't try and set fire to the monarchy, than what I would Harry. Now, I know some of you will give me so much backlash in the comments, but he didn't attack his family. He hasn't tried to damage his mother's legacy with Commonwealth relations. He didn't lie about racism allegations and the fact that he was near enough pushed to commit suicide by the very family that have given him everything his entire life. If Harry genuinely wants to come over and make amends with his family, well, then you stay with your family. You stay with Eugenie. He stays with his father. He stays in their residences where they can keep a watchful eye on him. I mean, as for giving them a place in Kensington, what members of staff would want to work for Harry and Meghan? Not only did they abuse them when they worked there, Harry's own words that they were left crying and slumped across their desks due to not being able to handle criticism. He and Meghan also accused these people that were brave enough to speak out in the bullying allegations as liars. Now, this is where the royal family, I think, made a very big mistake. They did it to try and appease the relationship and the fallout with Harry and Meghan, but I think that they should have disclosed that bullying report, because the problem is, by hiding it, it allowed Harry and Meghan to turn around and say, see, it was all a smear campaign. And I think that it did an injustice to those people that were quitting their jobs left, right and centre, because I do believe those bullying allegations. That's why Harry and Meghan never sued Tom Bower or Valentine Lowe for leaking those stories, bearing in mind that they are so quick to sue over the slightest thing that they have taken offence to. Now, another danger of Harry having anything to do with the royal family and being able to represent the crown or the king in any way or manner is that Harry and Meghan and Archewell are politically getting involved in US politics. Meghan has made no secret that she has political aspirations. She used her title to lobby senators. Harry and Meghan have been pushing for the vote when we saw Harry, a Prince of the United Kingdom, sitting on the bench telling people how important it was to vote in the last big election in America. And I think Harry should have really sat that one out. They've also been lobbying for gender equity, signing up with organisations that have clear and close political links. They are very much in with the Democrats, or trying to be involved with the Democratic Party. I think it is politically dangerous to allow Meghan to have anything to do with the political party until they give up that dukedom. She is not a duchess by title. She is only called a duchess because Harry is a duke. They need to take the dukedom from Harry. It's not that straightforward and simple. It takes an act of parliament. And I don't know about you guys around the rest of the world, but our country politically is in a hell of a state at the moment. So I think them taking a dukedom away from a spoilt, petulant prince so far down on that list. But they are, as I said, a potential risk of causing diplomatic relation issues. Meghan is the wife of a Prince of the United Kingdom, a son of the UK's current monarch, who is using her UK royal nobility titles to lobby senators to get herself involved in politics. Do you think those senators would have been speaking to Meghan Markle of Suits? Do you think Meghan would have been able to get an appearance at the UN in New York if she was Meghan Markle of Suits? No. She's purely in the position that she's in with the privileges that she's got because she is the Duchess of Sussex, who is the wife of Prince Harry, who is the son of the King of the United Kingdom and the Commonwealth realms. Politically, this is a serious danger zone, and I don't see them stopping, and I think it's only going to get worse. Meghan has always surrounded herself with political people. When she joined Soho House in Canada, she latched herself on to Jessica Mulroney that gave her the leg up to obviously then get involved with UN Women, Justin Trudeau, Sophie Trudeau. And Meghan has been climbing not just the celebrity greasy pole, but the pole in politics. And to be fair, a lot of politicians these days are little more than celebrities. I think a lot of politicians now almost behave worse than celebrities because these are the people that are the ones writing our laws. So the thought of Meghan getting into a position of power is truly terrifying, but also laughable. So, of course, it was no surprise to me or to anyone really that when it was announced that Dianne Feinstein, who was a 90-year-old Democratic senator, had passed away, Meghan's name was immediately thrown into the ring. We know that she'd been hassling Gavin Newsom for some time, the governor of California. Reports are so badly that he actually blocked her calls from coming into the office. Loads of stories came instantly out how Meghan had spent an hour's meeting with him to discuss her role as potentially taking it on, despite having absolutely no experience in politics whatsoever, unless you count the 6 weeks work experience that her uncle gave her in Argentina. But in a matter of days, it was declared that the position had been given to Lafonza Butler. It does further prove that I don't think Meghan was ever truly in the running to be considered as a viable candidate. As I said, she's got absolutely no experience in politics apart from maybe sticking her foot in it. Meghan couldn't handle a live debate. Meghan can't handle criticism. She and the dim-witted husband have been left so angered by the UK media calling out their bad behaviour, actually reporting on their awful treatment of others, have decided to make it their life's work to now try and destroy the UK media. We know that Harry has signed up with the Aspen Institute, where he's taking on the crusader role to stop disinformation and misinformation, despite he and his wife telling so many lies. I've actually lost count over the last few years. But now they have continued with their mission and it has gone global. It's recently been released that Australia has been targeted by the couple and Archwell, who invested in an investigation to talk about the dangers of misinformation and peddling hate by the Australian media, who also didn't report that favourably on Harry and Meghan's behaviour. I can see a pattern here. But if Meghan wants to get into politics, she's certainly got to have a lot thicker skin than that, because if she thinks the media were nasty about her when she was becoming a member of the UK royal family, I think that she is in for a very rude awakening. Anyone with a brain cell can see that Meghan doesn't have what it takes to be successful in politics. Like I said, she's got thin skin for a start. She couldn't even handle becoming a member of the royal family with teams of staff looking after her every whim. She had PAs, secretaries, people to answer her phone for her. She had people picking her wardrobe for her. Her hair was done for her. Her cooking was done for her. Everything that you can possibly imagine was done for Meghan, especially for royal engagements, and she was never happy with anything. She could not and would not follow protocol. She could not handle the fact that there was a chain of command and a pecking order. Meghan could not handle the fact that she wasn't a star and she wasn't automatically elevated to someone of the same social standing and importance as Catherine, the Princess of Wales, who of course was then the Duchess of Cambridge. Catherine worked very, very hard with the royal family and with the public she had. There were lots of things that happened and she slowly worked her way through public criticism, the media criticism, and she won absolutely everybody's hearts because she's a wonderful, genuine, kind person. She worked as part of the well-oiled cog that makes the monarchy work, and more importantly, as a family member. There is a hierarchy when it comes to the monarchy, and everyone else fitted in and worked hard for it. Meghan demanded that she go straight to the top, and in a game of snakes and ladders, she has come all the way back down quicker than you can bat an eyelid. Meghan has had a personal vendetta against the royal family and, in fact, anyone in Harry's life that got in her way. She couldn't handle negative press, she couldn't handle criticism, and she screamed racism to protect herself. She treated her female staff deplorably. Harry's own words, as I said, they were left slumped over their desk, quitting left, right and centre, crying their eyes out. Meghan, in my opinion, is a bully who wants to have her own way all the time. It's her way or the highway. It's clear that Meghan has no problem with playing dirty. She lets out her inner Regina George from Mean Girls. Meghan has been known for being a very nasty mean girl throughout most of her career. When she was on Suits, when she worked for Reitmans, she was apparently the worst person that they've ever worked with, and they would have refused to work with her ever again. Not only did she steal shoes from the set, she also left a lot of employees, especially the younger females, in tears and quitting. So again, this is a general thing with Meghan. She is not a nice person to work with, alongside, or for. It's clearly obvious that Meghan does not play well with others, unless of course she feels that they can bring something to the friendship. But even then, once they've served their purpose, they are done, they are dropped like a hot potato, or as the world has come to know the expression, which made it into the Urban Dictionary, they are markled. This woman has had a word put into the Urban Dictionary to describe how she treats other people once she deems them no longer of any use to her. So for the thought of Meghan going into politics thinking that she can handle it and she can play dirty, I guarantee you one thing. successful women in politics will play harder, faster, and far dirtier. And the main reason why I do not believe Meghan will ever make it into the political ring is because politicians, when they are fighting against each other, when they are trying to tear each other down, when they're trying to get public votes, they will dig up every grain of dirt that they can find on her. They will pull every skeleton out of every closet that Meghan has. And I don't know about you guys, but I certainly don't think that Meghan would really want that to happen, do you? So anyway, guys, that's the end of this video. Don't forget, if you haven't hit the like button, please do. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and remember to hit the notification bell, and I will be back with you very soon. So take care for now. Bye.